So this week I want to try to do something that I've been meaning to do for a little while now, but I just haven't really had time to get around to it. And it's something that I like to do with just about every facet of my everyday life. Everything that I enjoy, one of my favorite things to do is play fantasy booker. Over the past, year or so, I've mulled around with a bunch of different possibilities and speaking to a couple of different friends that I've had and people that I've met along the way. And then this merger happens between Cedar Fair and Six Flags, and it just kind of kicked the ideas into high gear. So today, we're going to play Theme Park Tycoon with Knott's Berry Farm. Before I get into all of these things that are going through my crazy head, I want to give a big disclaimer. This is in no way, shape, or form any kind of speculation or rumors or things that I have heard are going to happen with the park. This is solely my ideas in what I think Cedar Fair, Six Flags could do to make Knott's Berry Farm improve over the next 10 to 15 years. With that, I want to reiterate that I know it's also unfair, but Knott's does spend an awful lot of its time and reputation being compared to our neighbors to the south. So let's take a look at the lot size that Knott's has. You can see they've got a couple square blocks here with some excess along the west of Western and north of La Palma, all the way down Crescent, all the way over to Stanton. So they've got that whole block. And it looks like, that's a good chunk of land until you zoom out and you look down southeast and you see what Disneyland's working with here. Granted, Knott's is not Disneyland again, but for comparative sake, we're gonna try to do our best to compete with them. With that in mind, we want to look at where we can utilize the space that we do have and find ways to make improvements without having to really spread out. I know there were rumors, again, a while back about Cedar Fair possibly working with Buena Park to buy out a lot of that parking lot that's to the east of Stanton there, across the street from the parking lot that they have now. I don't know how true that was, but we're going to say that that's just not going to happen. Obviously, the first thing that everybody's been clamoring for, and I think it's something that the company could end up doing at some point, is building parking structures in place of the lots that they have now. This does a couple things. It frees up all that space. That main lot houses about 1,400 cars. So if you took all those spaces and you moved them over here next to Stanton, and you just utilize this little strip here, you build that up 4 floors. You met your parking quota. You've got enough parking to house what that lot houses now. I think that little spot there, I want to say it holds about 375 parking spaces. So multiply that by 4, you should be fine with parking spaces there. And now we have this entire lot to work with here. What this also does is this is going to eliminate this parking exit on La Palma, which is kind of a hassle anyway, because La Palma during traffic, like rush hours and stuff, can get a little trafficy, and that line can get a little long. So you build a parking structure here, you basically are only allowing people to go in and out this one spot here. I think that's okay. So now that we have that done, I also want to look down south here at the south lot next to the hotel. I also want to take that lot, move it across the entryway over to Knott's Berry Farm, and build a structure there as well. The structure obviously isn't going to need to be as tall. You can make it maybe 3 stories. That's going to house all of your resort stays, and you can even actually move the preferred parking into there as well if you wanted. You can run shuttles out of there around to the entrance if need be, which they sort of do anyway from the hotel at this point, but I don't know how efficient it is. So now you've got that chunk of land as well. The next thing I would love to see done is utilize all this space here that's next to Ghost Rider underneath Calico River Rapids, which is all staging area, business offices, training, the hiring officers are in there, the employment center. And I'd like to move all of those buildings and all of that up to the north and post it up in the La Palma lot. That's gonna shut down the La Palma lot, but that's okay because you have all the extra parking over in the main lot now. And I'm also going to probably, at this point, keep the western lot as auxiliary parking as well, just because you have another entrance over there. But now we have all this space to work with. Because if you look, what you have now is you've got this giant block of land that Knott's is using about a little over half for actual amusement facilities. So with that, you have all this land here. You can extend Ghost Town down all the way through the Gold Mine Trail. And now, because I know they have 3 Scary Farm mazes here, with the Depths there, Bloodline there, and Dark Entities there, you're not gonna wanna get rid of those. So you keep those buildings, you keep them as mazes, and you just put some sort of faux scenery up, kind of like how they do with Calico now, just that main street there. But you extend it a little bit, make it a whole ghost town world. And then you've got this giant building here, which I believe is their delivery, storage, and that's their warehouse. That's their warehouse, and this is all storage right here. So this is where it starts to get a little bit weird, but stick with me. Stick with me. So it was told to me back in January that there's the possibility that Knott's could be taking Camp Snoopy and moving it down to the south lot here, because it generates the least amount of noise and they can get away with having that land there next to the residencies that share this corner. So you move Camp Snoopy down to this corner, you extend Camp Snoopy all the way up here to Calico River Rapids. You use this building that you've now built a new building, a new warehouse across the street at La Palma. That is now going to be a Peanuts dark ride of some sort. Going all out here. This park is in desperate need of some sort of dark ride, hybrid dark ride, something like, say, Transformers at Universal, Spider-Man, or even something like on par with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway over at Disneyland. They need something like that, and they need to, with this merger, they need to kind of show the fanboys, like myself, of Cedar Fair, that Peanuts is going to be the mainstay of this park. They're going to be the main mascot. And Snoopy is going to still be the face of Knott's Berry Farm. So Snoopy gets his own dark ride here. With that, I'd also like to see them, since we're over here in this corner, I'd also like to see them reopen the Mystery Lodge Theater with something, get that show going again, because that show I thought was kind of cool. I only saw it once during Scary Farm, and I don't even know if that was the traditional Mystery Lodge show, but it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. If you've never seen it before, I'm sorry, that stinks. So now that we have Ghost Town and Camp Snoopy kind of butted down in the south end of the park, we're going to build the crowning achievement of Knott's Berry Farm, what's going to be the flagpole operation of this park. And when people think of Knott's Berry Farm, they're going to think of this Giga Coaster that's going to go basically all along the southeast wing. And I want to take this time real quick to thank a couple friends of mine for giving me the inspiration to kind of expound on this whole operation to begin with. I had doing this in mind for a while, but then I spoke to some people, and they kind of just helped me to kind of... I'm speaking, of course, about my buddies over at Escape Designs. They've got a YouTube page. You should go over and check it out. They have some really cool ideas. They created a prototype Giga Coaster that I think works really, really well in the park. They gave it a theme and everything. And with that, they actually kind of recreated the whole entryway of Knott's Berry Farm. And I want to show you some of it right now. It's pretty sweet, right? So there we go. We've got a dark ride, we've got a Giga, we've got an expanded mainstay land, we've got the kid park moved down to the other corner. That's gonna free up now that whole upper right corner where Camp Snoopy used to be. I think there you can actually stand to expand Fiesta Village out further that way and put, while you're, of course, redo Montezuma's Revenge, get that open, get that going again. And then you put some sort of a mid coaster in here, like a Sketty Bowl or something like that. I actually had that idea in mind for Camp Snoopy because if you're taking away all that storage, you've got a big old block of nothing right across from where the dark ride entry would be. But I think you can still put some sort of family coaster in there as well. So that's the main block all taken care of. You've got your Giga, you've got your dark ride, and I would even go so far as to say adding one more dark ride somewhere in that region there, south of Ghost Town, would help the park as well. You're not impeding on any of the hotel property, and the guests that stay at the hotel now have one hell of a view. For now, I'm gonna leave this preferred parking alone. I'm like that's kind of where the Giga's gonna have to roll out, so we really don't have much that we can do with that spot. However, we've got this whole side of beach now to play with. I would move Independence Hall. I know this is again, stay with me. Move Independence Hall across the street into the park somewhere. I know this is a bit controversial and a bit polarizing, and I apologize, but I honestly think it's gonna get more traffic if it's inside the park as opposed to being outside and isolated in a part of the property that really doesn't see much traffic with the exception of when Soak City is open, which is just a couple months a year. So instead of just kind of keeping that around in the spot that it's in, along with that bus stop that's next to it that doesn't get used for anything, I don't think, you wipe all that out and you expand Soak City to go all the way to beach. You got room for probably a couple more slides there. Take advantage of it. Turn it into a Hurricane Harbor type thing. Six Flags is very good at that. They've got plenty of water parks. They know what they're doing. Here's where it starts to get weird, and I start to think outside the box a little bit. You've got the lagoon, you've got this camp, you got all this space right here, right? You've got the Church of Reflections, which, by the way, is no longer owned by Knott or Cedar Fair. The city of Buena Park owns it, and I was told that they're just trying to find a place to put it. They don't know what to do with it. It's been sitting there collecting cobwebs for years now, which is really a shame, but it is what it is. So you get Buena Park to take Church of Reflections and you put it downtown somewhere where it can be a historical landmark somewhere, right? You've got the lagoon, you've got the camp, and you've got the pavilion, all sitting there empty all the time. Why not use that space too? It used to be, it was like a critter island where they would have a lot of like little wood critter animals running around. So that kind of inspired me to think, well, why not turn it into an actual critter island? Why not make it either a reptile house or even some sort of animal experience, like a mini zoo, or an aquarium, a la SeaWorld, something like that. Six Flags has a property up north called Discovery Kingdom, which years and years and years ago used to be known as Marine World Africa USA. And I believe Paramount bought it and then started adding rides after that. So it's still a hybrid zoo / theme park. Disneyland's not doing that. Magic Mountain's not doing that. Universal's not doing that. The LA Zoo is a little bit sad. I don't know if you've been there for a while. Why not make this an animal experience as well? It doesn't even have to be like big space-sucking exhibits like lions or elephants or bears or something like that. You could do maybe a reptile house. Just up the street in Fountain Valley there's a place called the Reptile Zoo. If you've ever been there, it's super cool, but they've got more snakes than they know what to do with. And they've got giant snakes. They've got alligators. They've got snapping turtles, giant iguanas. They got all kinds of things. You work with them. Maybe you can get them to rent space there and have the displays there. You combine that maybe with an aquarium. I don't know what the specific laws are with having an aquarium, so that would end up being so close to Aquarium of the Pacific over in Long Beach, but again, fantasy. So you've got your animal exhibit there, and I think that looks pretty good. Because the parking lot is all the way over on Stanton now, you're gonna need shuttle service in some way. And with Grand being a one-way street, you're going to probably, what you can probably do, honestly, is just put, you just put the shuttle service that runs across where the exit way is, where the lane is in the parking lot now. Go under the tunnel, drop them off in front of the peanut store, where the old cable cars used to drop people off. So you can use that as a shuttle stop. That gets them right to the entrance. That's kind of my ideas so far as to what I think Six Flags can do to help make Knott's Berry Farm comparable to the other theme parks in the area. It would keep its charm, but it also would give it massive aesthetic branding. Anyway, I would love to hear your guys' ideas. I would love to bounce ideas off of you, and I would love for any of this to possibly happen at some point in the future. But until then, let's talk.